Welcome to Oddball. I'm Amin Elhassan, that's Charlotte Wilder. We're in Miami. One more day.
One more day.
We have All-Star returns are out. We're going to get to that in a little bit. We're also going to play Hype Me Up because, for the weekend.
It's a Friday.
Yep. But first, I've got to lay out. We went to Heat Celtics last night. Charlotte confessed that even though she thinks that she's built up that thick shell where you go to games and you don't care of the outcome, you're just dead inside like I am. Mm-hmm. Every time the Celtics play, she gets a little bit of a charge.
It's true. I'm sitting there and I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
Like and I feel it. I feel it viscerally, and you know what? It feels great. Makes me feel alive. Sometimes I doubt whether I still have that when it comes to sports, and then it's just...
I love feeling dead inside. I love not caring one way or another what happens. It's the best.
And I love that worked for both of us.
Yeah, it did. Well, it worked tremendously for you as the Celtics shot 3 million% from the field. I believe at one point in the fourth quarter, they had missed six 2-point field goals all night long.
It's crazy.
This is while shooting above 50% from three.
Because there's nothing, like the Heat are not playing well recently, obviously. But also there's not much you can do against that. Porzingis goes out, and I was like, oh, okay, well, because he was playing great. He felt like he made a big difference, and it's the kind of thing where when he's that much taller, you just sort of reach up and get the ball.
This is my favorite part about the Heat last night. If I just read you their stat line, you'd be like, great night.
Yeah.
110 points scored. They hit 16 threes. You only turned it over 4 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Those were the stats?
Yeah.
Because watching that against the Celtics, you're like, and it's really just that the Celtics are that good. Like the
Celtics meet every shot. That's
firepower.
It doesn't matter how good you are offensively if the other team is making every shot.
Right.
And there's always a feeling in NBA games that it's peaks and valleys. Okay, they're hot now, but they'll come back down to earth. They never came back down to earth.
Ever.
Right? And it wasn't even like hitting circus shots.
No.
These are good, wide open shots. Luke Cornett, 4 for 4 from the field because he just kept slipping and finding the seams and making himself available right at the rim, catch and dunk, catch and dunk, catch and dunk. So, I don't know if you can play a game offensively better than what the Celtics did.
We were sitting there, and I was like, man, I want to see Celtics Pacers in the playoffs so badly.
I think it's going to happen in the second round.
Ooh.
I got a second round matchup between those two.
Okay.
But last night was a night of embarrassments for 3 championship-winning coaches. Erik Spoelstra, blown out by 1 million. Mike Malone, blown out by 1 million as well at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. A game that gave us Tom Thibodeau smiling.
Not only smiling, laughing.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen him in the last 10 years smile and laugh this much.
I have. He wasn't coaching at the time. That's when I worked with him at ESPN. Like Is
he a jolly guy?
He's a jolly guy. All of these guys are like. That's what I try to tell people. Like Stan Van Gundy, jolly guy. PJ Carlissimo, one of the jolliest of guys. Great people, great human beings. Give them a clipboard and a basketball. They turn insane.
It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yep. So those 2 guys, and Spo, Coach Malone, and also Coach Kerr out in Golden State, where they didn't get blown out, but they kind of coughed it up at the end with this last-second play that there was no timeout called, and they kind of just dittered themselves around all over the court.
Yeah, just like going on a little walk at the end of the game.
Charlotte,
yes.
Which one of these guys should be most concerned about what's happening, about that loss?
I would say Steve Kerr. Because I think Erik Spoelstra, I'm not going to doubt. We've seen enough of the Heat pull it together. Right. We've seen enough. As you said, they did not play badly last night. Mm-hmm. They've not been winning the past 4 games, but that's okay because it's the Heat and it's January. And if Jimmy Butler decides to, turn it up, okay, there's hope. Also, Jaime Jaquez is out.
Yep.
Love him. He's making a big difference.
Kevin Love, too.
Kevin Love.
Yeah, so, they played small,
right.
is what I'm saying.
Right. And then the Nuggets are the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And I don't think that loss is necessarily indicative.
No one wants to say it. I'll say it. New York City got them. That's New York City got them. That's like New York City prior to All-Star break. Guys are just trying to. I know Knicks fans are like, I mean, you said we don't beat the good teams, and now we beat a good team. Now you're making excuses. I'm not making excuses. You went out and you kicked their ass. That's what you're supposed to do. Kudos to the Knicks. Great job.
Yeah.
And, obviously I've been very optimistic about where the Knicks are going since the OG Anunoby deal. But, we can also acknowledge New York City sometimes gets teams. And if you're, especially a Western Conference team, you come once a year, guys are going to get it in, man. They don't care. They don't care if it was off a back-to-back. They don't care. I'm reminded of when Thabo Cephalosha got physically assaulted by a New York City police officer. Right, for absolutely no reason. Shout out NYPD for being assholes. Yep. But, the point is, players go out. And if they hit a city where there is no last call, where it's just, they're going to go out. They're going to push it to the limit. So
yeah, well, especially Denver, I feel like. They don't say openly.
Yes, because
you know that.
Yes, I know that
Amin knows that.
Well.
Amin's told me that before.
Yeah.
So Steve Kerr, I think that this feels like another lost moment for the Warriors in a season of just bad moments and tough decision making.
The team is still reeling, of course, from the loss of Coach Dayon, and even though last time I think it was their second game, I mean, that still lingers. It still lingers. But having said all that, they did play good enough to win the game. The Heat did not. He'd have lost 4 in a row now. And you're looking up in the Eastern Conference standings, if you're the Miami Heat, and you say, the Pacers got better. We know unequivocally they got better. And they had a big win last night. They beat the Sixers without Tyrese Halliburton. So that's big, right? We know the Knicks got better. We just talked about that, right? The Celtics have just shown you that they are better. And we have to assume, at the very least, that the Bucks are going to be better with a coach that they're rallying behind in Doc Rivers, who get to in a second.
Whew.
$40 million. Boy, God bless you, Doc. So if you're the Heat, there is a sense of, man, it's not really working right now, and everyone else ahead of us seems to have their stuff together, and we don't. So I think.
Do you think Spo should be most worried?
I think so. I think Golden State, in a weird way, I know they want it badly, but if it doesn't work out, there is a feeling of you guys went through a lot. Yeah, I mean, you went through a lot this year. Yeah. And so, and there's an element of maybe this is the end of the road, right? Miami, you're kind of in the middle of it, in the thick of it. So to have it kind of snatched away, I think might be a little tough.
Also, you just got Terry Rozier.
Yeah.
And that's not working yet.
Listen, it's only been 2 games. It's literally 2 games, a back-to-back.
They're just all these things.
He's literally not even gone to a practice. They're just shoot-arounds. Not even a shoot-around yesterday. Just a breakfast meeting, probably.
Sorry, Terry.
All right.
I didn't mean it.
See? She's coming around, I'm telling you.
No. But I did get a chance to ask Celtics head coach Joe Mazzulla a question.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and I was like, if the Celtics win, because I'm not going to ask an obnoxious question if the team loses.
Right.
That's just rude. I was like, I think I'm going to ask Mazzulla, if he has a new movie this year. Nobody can stop talking about how he said he watched The Town every night last year. And I was like, let's just see. And I was like, if they win, they're winning. Then they start just really blowing the heat out. And Amin was like,
well, now you got to do it.
And so I'm sitting there for the last quarter of the game just nervous. Because if you're in one of those press conference rooms, it's very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, and this is a story of my life as someone in sports. I come in and ask the question that makes other reporters
roll their eyes and kind of like, we're trying to do work here. Your playtime.
Yeah.
Guess what, reporters?
Guess who gets some really good quotes? Sorry.
Yeah. And guess what show is benefiting from that?
This one.
Last year you said you were watching The Town. I wondered what movie is inspiring you this year.
No. I watch a ton of movies. I watched The Bronx Tale the other night. It's a great movie. Have you seen that one?
Which one?
A Bronx Tale?
No.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
No.
Just one more movie.
Yeah. It could not have ended any better. The idea that, he says, have you seen it? And Charlotte's like, no. Have you seen Oddball? I haven't seen any movie ever. I was prepared to be surprised if you had said yes.
I really wanted to, but I didn't want to lie.
Oh, man, if you had lied, that would be even funnier.
Really?
Yeah.
I had this moment. There was the devil and the angel on my shoulder. He was like, have you seen it? And I was like, no.
I could see you take that's a long pause, it's a damn moment of silence. So,
And then I just smiled like an idiot and didn't get the quote. Because Nobody Cares is a quote from that movie. And I was like, nobody cares about the question. Nobody cares what he's watching. And Amin was like.
And I yelled out, Colegulo. Like, that's the name of the guy. Like,
and I was like, what? I thought you said collection.
No. Yeah, no one got what I said. But no one got what he said either, so. Because I didn't hear. Jay King from The Athletic, Gary Washburn, Boston Globe. I didn't hear any reaction from you guys. Didn't hear any reaction. I'm calling you out, naming you by name.
Well, Amin, we're finally here. The starters for All-Star are locked in.
Mm-hmm.
In the West, as captain, nobody is surprised for the 20th year.
Yeah.
LeBron James, that's insane. But nothing surprises us anymore. Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant.
Right.
In the East, we've got Captain Giannis Antetokounmpo. We've got Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, Jason Tatum, and Tyrese Halliburton. What stands out to you most?
Okay, so first of all, why do we have captains? We're not doing the pick thing anymore. So
I don't get it.
It's just lead vote getters. Get your stuff together, NBA. Second of all, only 2 unanimous players. And when I say unanimous, because remember, that's how All-Star voting works. 50% of it is just fan votes. 25% the media votes. I think there's 100 or so media voters that vote. And then 25% are the players. The players each get a vote. So Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton were the only unanimous number 1 ranked player by all 3.
Giannis and Tyrese.
Giannis and Tyrese Halliburton. Not LeBron, not Jokic, not Luka Doncic, nobody. It's funny because Jokic, number 1 from the players, number 1 from the media, the fans are like, still like LeBron better. Really? LeBron was 1 and Jokic was 2. So there's that. Damian Lillard, first-time starter in an All-Star game. He's been an All-Star. It's his 8th selection. He's never started the All-Star game before. And I heard that. I was like, that can't be right. Then I was like, you play with Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant. Like all these guys were in the league while in the Western Conference while he was there. It's like almost impossible to break through that. So it is kind of surprising.
He just needed to go east a little bit.
Also, technically, Damian Lillard and Jalen Brunson tied in terms of the weighted score, right? So they do the math, they do the weighted score. They're tied. The tiebreaker went to Damian Lillard because of the fan vote. And this is where it gets interesting because Jalen Brunson was second among the media vote. The media was like, this guy should be a starter.
What was Dame?
Dame was 5th. The players said Jalen Brunson, fringe starter. They had him 3rd behind Tyrese Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton. The players were giving some credit, maybe a little bit less than Maxey, but it doesn't matter. And then for Lillard, he was 4th among the player rank. So he was behind Brunson there. He was behind Brunson in the media rank. But in the fan rank, he was 3rd for the fans and 5th and Brunson was 5th for the fans. New York City, the place starved for a winner, the biggest market, the team that you can go to any game in this league on the road and they will have a sizable contingent because they're New Yorkers everywhere. Mm-hmm. They couldn't muster up enough votes for Jalen Brunson?
I don't understand quite how the fan voting works. I don't know who knows you can do it. I don't know who knows how you can do it because it seems like that's crazy.
This is what the fans chose. Number 1 was Tyrese Halliburton, as we said. Number 2 was Trae Young. Number 3 was Damian Lillard. Number 4 was Donovan Mitchell. And number 5 was Jalen Brunson. And so I was really, really puzzled by that.
Do you think that it's more of a question of people who are fans of the players, no matter what team they're for?
Sure. Damian Lillard has a lot of fans regardless. It's not like people in Wisconsin voted for him. This guy is a massive star, right?
Is it the Donovan Mitchell one that...
even Donovan Mitchell's a pretty big star. I just thought the Knicks fan base, now that they're good, and it's clearly because of this guy, they would be so galvanized to make sure. You would think it would be. Remember when Yao Ming?
Yes.
It's like he had 300 million people saying, "Oh, he's like." It doesn't matter what he's playing like. we finally got one of our guys.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to get him there.
We want him there.
We want him there, right? And so this is a great segue to, I go back to James Harden, who finished 6th in fan voting, with less than 1 million votes. By the way, he was 6th in fan voting, 6th in media voting, 8th in player rank. Players, I guess, not too happy.
They're like,
These are the players.
you made a lot of noise this offseason.
So
James.
Shea was 1 among the guards. 2, this is with the player rank. 2 was Luka. 3 was Steph. 4 was Anthony Edwards. I think that's all right. Devin Booker's 5. And then you get to De'Aaron Fox 6, Kyrie Irving 7, and then James Harden 8. I would argue that James Harden is better than a couple of those guys, or has had a better season, I should say, than a couple of those guys. But it's the fan rank here that I'm puzzled by. I just don't believe that everyone in China woke up and said, you know what, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm off that James Harden stuff.
Do you think they didn't promote the vote in
They
China?
never had to promote it.
It just happened.
These are rabid fans. These are people who seek the NBA, consume it at an incredible level.
Could you only vote through a VPN or something?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm wondering if there was some sort of difficulty in the voting. I keep asking these questions. I never get answers, you know?
Do you think the breakdown of fan vote, media vote, player vote is fair for sending people?
Yes.
You like
Yes.
like that the fans have 50%?
The reason why we have this system is because we came I want to say 100,000, maybe 50,000 votes away from Zaza Pachulia being a starter in the All-Star game. Dead serious. Like, he was, in front court voting, he was 4th. And the league was like, all right, this has to stop. So they did this, and I think it's good.
Yeah.
That because it's kind of like checks and balances, you know, like executive branch and legislative branch or whatever, like making sure that no one party is too strong and can just shoehorn someone in. Also, we get to expose people.
Yeah.
Because the fans are the fans. I can't tell you where the votes came from for the fans. The votes are everywhere. Although I'm sure the league knows what percentage of the votes came from what part of the country, what part of the world.
Release the demographics.
Release the demographics. But Charlotte, I'd like to talk to you about something that we do know.
What do we know?
That 3 players voted for Thanasis Antetokounmpo to be a starter
Wait, really?
in the All-Star. Yes. We'll
Giannis?
Yep.
Thanasis. Who do we think it was?
Giannis definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. I'm going to say Robin Lopez because Robin looks like a instigator of such things. And then it has to be someone, Malik Beasley. Looks like someone who doesn't take things seriously. No offense, Malik, but you look like the kind of guy this would be funny. Thanasis going there. Yeah, those are my 3 candidates.
I can't
Or
argue
maybe
with it.
Thanasis. Maybe you can vote for yourself. I don't know.
I really feel like it was Thanasis, Giannis,
And then who's the
Robin.
third?
I was
Robin
going to say
Lopez?
Robin Lopez.
Robin Lopez. It's always a Lopez.
You brothers supporting brothers is all that is.
Wouldn't he have voted for his brother then?
No.
No,
No.
that's true.
Are you kidding me? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
He'd be like, I'm putting Thanasis before my own brother.
Also, I think Robin and Brooke would like to preserve the ability to not be there for All-Star Weekend so they can go to Disney World or Shanghai Disney or some. They're going to some Disney property. I know that.
Absolutely.
It's Friday. We're getting into the weekend. No one wants to go to the weekend down in the dumps.
We want to go into the weekend happy and feeling good about ourselves.
Happy and feeling good about ourselves. And so we have a segment called Hype Me Up where give them a little inspiration.
Hype me up.
All right. Charlotte, I'm going to start you off with Adrian Griffin. Yeah. I mean, look, it's not a good week.
No.
It's one thing to lose your job. It's another thing to have every single person on TV and on radio and on podcasts explaining exactly why you lost your job.
I know.
You inept that's the vibe that everyone's giving. And I feel bad for him.
I do too. I want to say, okay, Adrian, look, there's not a ton of positive spin we can put on this right now. I'm going to be honest. But I want you to know, I felt bad in how we've been talking about you, not because I think what we're saying is wrong, but because it's easy to pile on at this point. You are a big storyline in the NBA right now at a time where, sure, there's a lot going on, but you need an explosive story every once in a while, and you ended up getting caught up in that. All this to say, you were an assistant coach for 16 years.
Yeah.
You're going to have another job. It might not be head coach.
Of course. Yeah.
And people have short memories. So give it 2 years, 3 years, try again. People often just the fact that you were a head coach and they're like, oh, he had a pretty good record though, might be enough for them to be like, let's just get him in here. So all this is going to blow over. Someone else is going to do something that everybody's talking about. You're going to be able to fade away, and it's all going to get better. And you are still being paid by the Milwaukee Bucks.
For 4 years.
4 years. All right, Amin.
Yes.
I would like you to make Kyle Lowry feel a bit better about himself.
Okay, so Kyle, yes, you got traded from Paradise. Living in Miami is fun. The weather's great, etc. You got sent to Charlotte, but the good news is you're not going to play for Charlotte. Even Charlotte understands you're not going to play for Charlotte.
I get it.
Yeah. So they're trying to trade you. Now, that may or may not happen. So I'm going to deliver some bad news before I deliver the good news. The bad news is if you don't get traded, you're going to get bought out. They're going to probably try and skimp you on your money. You're not going to get 100% of your money. The good news is you don't have to be in Charlotte after that. Then you can go to a good team and it may be a championship winning team. Now I got some bad news with that. The bad news is the following teams can't sign you: Phoenix, Milwaukee, Boston, the Clippers, Denver, and the Warriors. And the reason for that is they are above the first apron. So this is the new CBA now has a second apron where things get crazy up there. But if you pass the first apron, you're not allowed to get buyout candidates. So it's another kind of mechanism designed
For parity.
Well, yeah, and to make you not just throw money and buy, unless you're really bought in on your team, you better be wise with your decision making. So that's the bad news. Some of those are really good teams. Denver's a really good team. Clippers are a good team. Boston is a good team. Milwaukee obviously is a good team. Phoenix. These are all teams that, wow, they might try to win a championship. The good news is, you know who's not on that list? 2 teams. Philadelphia, your hometown, where you grew up and you played for Villanova, you started for Villanova, and to return home and to play with a great player like Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and the rest of those guys. So that will be a nice little homecoming. And by the way, to play for Nick Nurse, your former head coach, when you won a championship at Toronto. The other option is New York, where every other Villanova alum is. Here's the coolest thing about Villanova. All those guys are Villanova guys, but they're younger than him. And you know what happens when players all went to the same college and someone was really successful went to that college? They treat him with crazy reverence.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you would go to New York, Kyle, and you would be the godfather. Like they would all come kiss the ring to learn from the great Villanova Wildcat himself. So even though they won a national championship and you didn't, but they respect him immensely. And so, Kyle, either way, you're going to get like a really warm homecoming, even though it's not going to be warm outside.
I also like his fit on both of those.
I do too.
I think it could be great.
Yep. All right. Charlotte, this last one is for you. It's Ben Simmons. He's been out for nearly 2.5 months, but reports are that he could return to the lineup as soon as Monday against the Utah Jazz.
Ben Simmons, when I say this, I don't mean this. I don't mean this as an insult, which is that expectations.
You dress like a genie. Expectations is that you are going to.
Expectations aren't high, and I don't mean that because of your ability. I don't mean that because of what people know you can do. You were an all-star. You were an unbelievable player. You've been hurt. Things haven't gone your way. You have a chance to come back and prove everybody wrong. There is nothing better than being in a position where you can show everyone you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you doubted me for 2.5 years? Watch this. You have the stage set for you. Nothing is better than expectations not being super high because you can just leap over them. Thing is, you have to do it, but I still believe.
Yeah.
You're going to do it, Ben. Seriously.
Along the way, you might have to grant someone 3 wishes and let them know that they'll never have a friend like you. When I would sneeze, I would say, bless you to myself, and then I would thank myself. I would go like, I'd sneeze, I'd chew, and I'd say, bless you, Amin, thank you. And then I'd say, you're cool. And I'd say, I know that. I would go through that whole routine. I also used to, me and my cousin Proof, we came up with a system of we're never gonna say please or thank you anymore.
Why?
Well, because like most of the time when you're requesting something and you're receiving something, you do it with the feeling of gratitude.
Yeah.
You're always saying, hey, please pass me some water.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Can I
always
have that water?
it's like the number of times you actually mean to be disrespectful and not say please or thank you is so small compared to the number of times when you're like, yeah, of course it's respect here. So we shouldn't say please or thank you. We should save those extra words out of efficiency for the times when we don't mean please or thank you. So it's like, give me that water and I don't mean please. That's when you should do it.